Welcome to Sweeping the Country one more time. I'm your host, Derek Walker. With me today, Mr. Jimmy Carter, as always. Hey, Jimmy.
Oh, happy almost end of March. I'm in stun mode today.
Oh, gosh,
because some things happened that some of you, yes, probably everybody that would listen to this keeps up somewhat with the news.
Yeah.
Nashville had its first mass school shooting.
Oof, boy.
And I'll tell you, I'm used to reading the news, and it's not about me.
Right.
So I can read it sort of, out there.
Mm-hmm.
When this story came over today and started this morning as a mass shooting at a school, okay, and then it started to identify the geographic location.
Right.
And I went, And then I think they even said the name of where the school was, the Covenant School in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I went, and it said Harding. I went, oh my God. I mean, my life passed before me.
It's funny. I mean, not funny, but
it's very near where my daughter lives,
ugh.
But it's also not far from where she works at a school. It is not far from where my 2-year-old grandson goes to school.
Jimmy.
And it's not far from where my 4.5-year-old granddaughter goes to school. I knew it wasn't that school. But the first thing comes into your mind, and again, this is my first personal dealing with a mass shooting, even peripherally.
Yeah.
I've reported on too many of them, and everywhere. But first thing you said, is this the beginning of something bigger?
Well, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it going to be some coordinated attack on schools or something? Your mind just races with all this stuff going on. And I thought for a minute that my grandson went to a school that name sounded like this, and it really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it did with me for a second. And it scared me to death.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's interesting to me, and I said earlier it's funny, but I don't mean it's funny. It's just strange how when something happens and you're connected somehow to the community, maybe directly, maybe indirectly. You have kids, a daughter that teach and in school, and my wife in the teaching business. We're aware of this. I mean, we're thinking about this probably more than people that don't have kids in school or don't have kids. Maybe they're grown up or whatever. But when it happens close to home, boy, it really seems to have an impact that it doesn't when it happens far away. I don't know why. I mean, I guess
when I was an I guess I'm not licensed currently. When I was an emergency medical technician, an EMT, and was out doing that, as part of my life, I could handle anything. If it was an old person or whatever, I could handle anything. What I didn't handle well were children.
I will agree with
child of any kind.
Yeah.
And that was before I was that was before I was a dad.
Yeah,
so
boy.
I just didn't like hurt children. I just really didn't. And I'd gone to extreme measures to try to protect them sometimes.
No, I got you. I hear it in your voice too. And there's something about it because there's, it's almost like a short change situation, right? Where they're, 7, 10, 12.
Is so
I mean, come
weird
on.
Because the FBI will tell you women are generally not mass murderers.
Yeah, what is this?
It's mostly men.
Yeah.
It's racially, I think it's probably mostly white men.
Perhaps
they're mostly of a certain age. You don't see a lot of white men mass murderers that are 70.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a profile, but of course, that's just there are exceptions to everything.
Yeah.
In this case, the name of the gunman was Audrey Hale. Wow. A biological female, but identified as a male named Aiden. It gets me so confused with this because I had to go kind of look it up. But a biological female did commit these terrible murders.
That blew me away.
Manifesto and everything had all been planned. And it's just more and more it's coming out by the hour. 2 assault rifles and a handgun. But what is so unusual, and she had intended to kill a janitor and did kill a janitor and had 2 other people that she wanted to kill. And it was going to also be at another school, but that school was too protected and went to this target where she, I think, used to be a student. It gets, more, you're peeling back the envelope. And, we say we keep all the doors locked at a school.
Sure.
And we think that protects us. No, this one had an assault rifle and blew the door.
This was also,
and that's how it got in.
This was also a private school, which a lot of people believe that, this is maybe a
They had
safer
cameras
environment.
everywhere, and they had doors locked.
Wow.
But blew the door. So how are you going to protect yourself from someone blowing the door with an assault rifle?
Right.
You're not.
Right.
So there are
100%.
just so many things about this that are, but three 9-year-olds and the parents watching and that's horrible with a capital H.
Yes.
But to see these little children, there were 209 in the school normally, to see the other 206 children leaving hand in hand in school buses, being evacuated to a place about 2 miles away to reunify with their parents.
Let me ask you something.
It's just so against nature to do this to children.
It is. And, I agree. I agree. But Jimmy,
just,
where does it go? I mean, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but where does it go? Where do parents at some point say? And there's a lot of things. There's knee-jerk gun reaction. There's putting armed guards at every school.
Gun reaction, which was the very first thing.
Sure, and then you have guards at every school and metal detectors and basically military.
Well, that's what the
school.
President said right off the bat. He said we got to do more to secure our schools. I don't know how we do any more to secure that school. Short. I mean, of having a guard on every door, that's just not practical.
Now
it's
not
possible.
Let me ask you, and I agree with you on that. I mean, it's an expense that.
It's a point that you just you need to do everything you can, but then how much do you really? How much is ridiculous?
Right, really. And also, what is the tipping point for the parents when they say, "Okay, I'm not sending my kids to school anymore"?
Well, that is a tipping point for some, and it certainly has been around where some of these school things have taken place.
Yeah.
But when you really get down to the beginning of, I think we have too many guns in this country, but you also, it would be impossible to get them all back.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, we have too many. Yes, that's not the country that we live in where you could do that, where you just say, okay, you got to turn your guns in today. No, that's not going to fly.
Right.
So, but one thing we can do something about, which is the core of every one of these things, mental health.
Agree. 100%.
That's the one thing that's 100%. Given. It's the one thing insurance companies don't even cover particularly mental health.
You have to struggle to get that covered. And then there's a stigma on top of it. Well, you're getting, you're seeing a counselor, you have a psychologist. Why is that stigmatized like that? Why can't that be just like getting your ingrown toenails fixed? I mean,
the medical insurance I've never understood as an adult. Number one, they don't give a crap about your eyes,
which are that's true. You have to get
first
separate
of all,
insurance.
They don't. If you think, well, we got dental, we got no, you don't. Not much.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't really cover your eye stuff very well. Most people's insurance. Next thing is doesn't give a crap about your teeth.
Right.
Yeah, we'll get your teeth cleaned every year, twice or whatever. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have something that needs to be done, preventive or whatever. If you let your teeth rot in your mouth, you will die.
Of course you will. You'll get so sick.
And low-income people who have terrible dental care don't have good lives.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just another ridiculous thing we do in this country. And then you finally do get the health insurance, and you got mental health, and you got all these people. That the country did not want to help these soldiers. We'll send them over there to these wars.
Yeah.
But then when they come back, like my brother in Vietnam, and they have these mental illnesses. Right. From however you get that from killing people all over the place.
Oh, God, yeah.
We don't want to deal with that. No, we nanny boo-boo with all that stuff. And same way with Agent Orange and all this other things.
Right.
We don't mind sending a soldier as a country off to war, but we don't want to take care of them particularly when they come back because it would break the bank.
Yeah.
That's why you don't want to spend the money. It's not that some evil guy, Lex Luthor is sitting up there going,
right.
No,
right.
It's all about money. Everything is about money. Money. Everything's about money. At the end of the day, it's about, we don't want to pay for this. We can't afford this, but we can afford a lot of crap.
Yeah, we can.
We can afford more things than you can imagine. We can afford for the president to jump to Canada to go have a couple of days up there seeing Trudeau, which is totally pissing away money.
Right.
We don't need to do that. And there's a whole bunch of Democrat and Republican things we don't need to do, but we're very free with our money, except with things that are important, like mental health, eye care, dental care, education in schools. Why does Dolly damn Parton have to do an imagination library to give little kids something to read? I mean, really?
Right.
I mean, does not the state and local or somebody wanted the libraries in each community? Why are we so screwed up
I don't
on
know.
all these things? That our priorities are a mess, and frankly, because of our priorities being a mess for so long, we're coming to payday here. You know, we came to payday in Nashville today.
Yes, you did.
You know, when we record this,
we all did. Yeah.
We went to the check cashing building today because we lost 6 people in something that probably was a mental health thing that could have been dealt with a lot earlier, but it came to this. But we don't learn. We're like a monkey that burns its hand on the stove and then goes back and burns it again 20 minutes later.
Right.
Because we don't learn from any of these things. We don't fix anything.
But Jimmy,
we get another lock for the door.
Right.
Or we'll do something like that because that's easy. But it's just.
Or we remove what? Bump stocks, or we change the ammunition so people can't buy
stocks and all this
that crap.
It's all bullshit. It's really what it is. Excuse my French, but that's just what it is.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And I want to know when the smart and the people in Washington, they're not stupid. I mean, we call them bumbling fools, and they can't, decide which way to go. The wind blows, they go that way. It's all about the money there too, by the way.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, and
every bit of it.
These people are smart
and I'm sure
enough.
Ukraine at the end of the day is all about the money.
Of course.
I'm sure that it somehow ends up always being all about the money. And then here's a story. I'm going to get away from this for just a second because it's all connected. It really is. It is connected. Yeah. If I can find the story, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Wall Street Journal did a deal this week. It's a poll. I'm not much on polls, but listen to it.
I'm something though on Wall Street Journal. I've always liked them. I felt they're pretty middle of the road. Am I wrong on that?
I think you're right.
Okay.
And on something like this, I think they are.
Okay, let's go.
Here's the lead paragraph. Patriotism, religious faith, having children, and other priorities that help define the national character of the United States of America are receding in importance to Americans.
Ooh, I agree with that. Yeah.
What is more important these days, even though we're sharply divided by political parties, our number one priority, and it proves itself in here, is gender-neutral pronouns and racial diversity in business. That's a lot more important than people say patriotism. Here's an example. Patriotism has gone in 1998 from 70% who thought patriotism was very important. Today, in 2023, it's 38%.
Wow.
I believe that.
I do too. I have no reason. My question on that
is, I hear patriotic songs and God Bless America and and what is and reason for that? You want to know the reason for that?
I do. I want to know if it's intentional.
Because it's been hijacked by the right. Patriotism has been hijacked by the right. So because they try to be ultra patriotic, the people on the left have an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
They think it's about being a right-leaning person if they're standing up for the flag and saluting it and singing God Bless the USA. It's where our politics are so screwed up that extremism has hijacked patriotism.
And I just was thinking as you were saying that and saying, is it intentional? It almost sounds like it's not intentional from the standpoint of the hijacking, right? Yeah, we believe in it. All of a sudden,
no, they didn't go out to hijack.
I don't think so. Yeah,
it's an effect
cause
of
and
what
effect.
has
Yeah.
occurred.
Okay.
Nobody went out there and means we're going to hijack patriotism.
Right.
They just did it, but it's been the reaction.
Wow.
So therefore, we have a lot less religion.
Yes.
There's been religion since there's been the human being.
Yes.
Humans have always felt there needed to be, or there has to be something bigger than me.
Right. Sure.
That created this place. So that's why, they believed in sun gods. They believed in, water monsters. They believed in Jesus. They believed in this. They believe in that.
Yeah.
And that keeps people somewhat centered.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Religion's been a bad thing. We fought many wars in our world over religion
because of it,
in Europe and other places. But religion has gone from 62% of importance in the society to 39%.
Wow.
It's following patriotism.
Wow.
Now, here's another thing. Community involvement.
Mm-hmm.
In 1998, I believe it got a little higher there for a minute, up to 62%,
Yeah.
but now it's down to 27%. People don't want to have anything to do.
Isn't
They
that
don't go
wild?
to. I went to lights out, or what do they call it, like big night out or
Oh, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
There was like nobody there, at this thing.
Yeah.
People don't go to community events in most of America. In some small towns, they still do.
Yeah, we're that way. I mean, my neighborhood, we know everybody that lives in our cul-de-sac. There's probably 15 houses, and I probably know 10 of the people, but that's
rare.
That's
rare in
really
America
rare.
today.
My kids are in the same city, and they don't know any of their neighbors. I just go out of my way to get to know people, and
I say hello to the next door over here. I don't know their name.
yeah.
And that's it.
Would
And
you?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 neighbors right around here. Don't know them.
There
2
used to
years.
be a time, Jimmy, that and they do this at the end of our street, which is really old school. But they have barbecues where they close the street off, and
They do it at the community association building,
yeah,
which is a bigger thing in the in 200 homes.
yeah.
But in our immediate homes, not
It's
really.
crazy. Yeah,
I mean, they're nice enough. We wave and stuff, but
yeah,
nobody really is that involved. Here's some more stuff.
yeah. Go.
Having children
Yeah,
has
that's
gone from 59% of importance to 30% importance in society today. That can be proven on any Saturday or Sunday that's beautiful weather.
mm-hmm.
Go to your town square or your river or your community lake or whatever and see everybody walking their dog. They're not walking their children.
They're walking
their dogs.
Well, the dogs are their children. I mean, nothing
The
wrong with
dogs are
that.
their children.
You know,
And if you're listening to me, I mean, people either can't afford to have kids.
Yeah.
They don't want to have kids because it cramps their social style.
Or
and that goes back to the narcissism in society with having to get your picture in a selfie all the time.
Well, there's
and
that,
having
yeah.
a child, a dog, you can kind of board them.
It's not
in
quite.
some cases leave them at home all day.
That's true, but
Sometimes
I
you
will
leave them
say,
at home all day.
I will say this, and I don't know if this crossed your mind when you were having kids, because we're about not a generation, but a few years apart. So when I was having kids, I remember thinking to myself, do I want to bring kids into this messed up world? I mean, I thought about that.
I never thought about it.
Okay,
It was an oops both times.
Okay, so there's at least
But the
some
best
of
thing
that.
I ever did, though, best thing.
I agree.
I'm so happy that it happened to me.
I am
but
too.
I don't think most men. I think a lot of men in their right mind, oh my God, I'm not ready for this.
Oh,
responsibility.
nobody's ready for it. Yeah, nobody's ready for it.
And,
But I mean,
that kind of things. But they're acting on it now. They are not having.
wow,
They're
that's
not having
fascinating.
children. But who are having children are lower socioeconomic people, people who are newcomers to the country.
Yeah,
But
sure.
the white America is generally not having the children.
Fascinating. I mean, it is fascinating.
This is all sociology. Now, what is important to people? Well, a little bit. 31% people said money was one of the most important things. Now it's 43%. That's not that big a deal.
I could
Money's
see that.
Always been important,
yeah, I could see that swing in any one of those. You go up, 10%. That's not a big deal. But when you're at 50% of what it was, that's a big deal. So that one doesn't bother me too much. What else?
No, that one doesn't bother me too much. But and I hate that patriotism has been hijacked. That makes me, and it also goes down to the people not joining the military.
Yeah,
You've noticed that the Army and the services are advertising again. I saw it during the basketball games. Army in particular are not meeting their quotas because there's not a feeling about wanting to do community service, not wanting to be part of your community,
right.
and not wanting to serve your country because it's patriotic.
I get
all that, but that's just, it seemed to have always worked until it hasn't worked. And luckily, we're depending more on drones and those kind of things because we can't depend on people. But at the end of the day, that bites you on the butt.
Yeah, I've watched some of the ads. I've noticed the increase in ads on television, online. And as I watch the ads, they're different. They used to be all that you can be, the Army, right? USA, the flag. Now it looks more like a trailer for a video game like Call of Duty.
Right, it does.
When you watch those ads, you think, oh, man, that looks fun. Look at that. They get and I just think, wow, they had to really drop that to where it hits people. Oh, this would be fun. Not that I would be supporting necessarily, but to, throw a gun in my hand and blow up a tank or something might be something fun to do. I just find that fascinating. Just fascinating.
Yeah, I do too. I was looking here. based on whether you're a Democrat, an independent, or Republican. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest difference is that Republicans, 59% say that patriotism is important.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
29% of independents, 23% of Democrats think patriotism, because Republicans have hijacked patriotism.
That's too bad, because it should be
With God
important to
Bless the
all of us.
USA
Yeah.
being the theme song for Trump and that type of thing.
Ugh.
It's just where it is. Community involvement sick between everybody. Everybody's, it's all bad. And having children, the worst is the independents at 20%, but even Republicans at 38%, 26% for Democrats. So, but the patriotism thing, that just, you're not proud. I mean, I just wonder where we're going.
Yeah, whether you're
with this society. I mean, I used to joke that some people would say, if whoever, Chinese, the Colombians, whoever, let's say they invaded Florida,
mm-hmm.
and they were doing a pretty good job of taking, let's say they've gone in on all three sides, from Key West to Tampa to there, and they're getting a stronghold.
Yeah.
And some of the people that you're talking about in this survey would say, well, some people would say, let's go kick butt, and they get going.
Definitely.
But then some people would say, well, it's just Florida.
We
got 49 others.
Okay.
Other states.
I have to tell you this because you brought this up. It was about 2 weeks ago, I think, the Chris Rock special on Netflix.
Yeah.
And how popular and how it was getting, all kinds of different feedback. Well, I watched it the night you said that. I said, I'm going to watch it. And it, might be hard for some people to watch. I give comedians a lot of leeway. So, they're trying to be funny and doing all this. But Chris Rock said something in that Netflix special that blew me away. And he was right about a lot of things in that special, although it's full of colorful language and, attacks on everything. He hits everything. But he says in that, he goes, he says there's a segment of the population, and I don't remember if he said it was half or what he said, but there's a segment of the population, if we were invaded by China right now, they would probably say, well, let's hear them out and see what they have to say.
I like their food.
Right. I mean, honestly, that I believe that's true. But I think that's through years and years of not having to fight or enlist in the army or have.
No, it is. We've been so blessed in this country.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, I was draft number 75 in college. I was legitimately in college.
Wow.
And my number, we were safe because we were in college.
That's right. Yeah.
But if I'd gotten out of college or whatever, I'd have had to go.
And
then the war ended, and I, thank God.
Yeah.
And it didn't do it. I mean, I'm from a military family, but no one ever made a case for me to go to Vietnam, and I wasn't too thrilled about it.
Well, Jimmy,
but
I mean,
I would have had to go, I guess.
I remember registering for the selective service when I was 18. In high school, we all did it. We registered for it, and there was never any draft during the time that I registered. I was born in 1967 to now. There was never any need to pull, that group in. So, I mean, there's a whole block of society that's never experienced any of that.
No, and I'm glad for that.
Me too.
I had friends that I went to high school with that didn't make it back. And then I had a brother who came back, and he wasn't worth the crap, from that point, and died. So patriotism,
that's sad.
I don't know. I love my country. I love to see football games when they have the people stand up, and I love when the flyover comes. And I'm proud of my country, except when we're stupid.
Yeah,
but I'm still proud of it.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm not proud of people who tear up the flag and who kneel down and protest during that and all that. I think too many people have died to give that privilege. Is why they can do it, but I don't have to like it.
Right. I agree with you 100%. 100%.
But again, this we've so divided, because of the political rhetoric on the left and the right side, that it's very hard for us, short of an asteroid or a dinosaur coming, or something like that would
draw everybody together.
We would all of a sudden, I guarantee you, we'd learn about our neighbors pretty doggone quick if we had some type of thing like that. We would all of a sudden know each other. But
I agree.
It's a shame we have to have something like a mass shooting or something for us to have a discussion. And then, like every other thing, it'll die out.
Well, I mean, Jimmy,
still nothing will be done about it. But at least, if you identify the problems and it boils down, if you didn't hear anything I said, during the last tirade of all this. It's mental health.
Yeah,
We've
no
got to
kidding.
do something in this country about people with issues. And there's so many people. All of us have some kind of issue.
Yeah.
And we need to have that looked at and try to deal with it in some way, and don't put a stigma on it.
No,
and everything
please.
can't be fixed with a drug.
Right.
As it was explained to me years ago, that's just putting the Band-Aid, on a big wound.
Yeah.
That you have to remove the thorn from the paw before the paw can get well.
I got nothing else to say. You were right on the money, and every once in a while I could see your blood pressure rise, and today was one of those days, and you have every reason for that to happen. And I think about the families involved in today's shooting, and all of them that we've somehow been calloused about over the years. I don't know why, but for some reason today, when you posted the video on Facebook of the live video, and I listened to what you said, it just sunk in really deep. And maybe that's part of, the polarization in the United States and the reason why people don't befriend their neighbors anymore, and people are so quick to knee jerk and say, right, let's get the mental health thing. I agree with you on the stigma. It's not anything for anybody to be embarrassed about. We all could use a mental health checkup, and maybe that's what we do. We go in once a year like we do for our ticker or whatever else it is medically, and we say, hey, give me a quick mental 1-2 on top of it. I don't know.
Sometimes, and this another thing, and we got to wrap this up, but one thing that's causing a lot of mental health issues, and I've heard this say before, and it's happening more with the younger generation than old, and sometimes older, is isolation.
Yeah,
because of people not knowing who they are in the community, and people just living in front of a screen, all the time, and playing video games, and sometimes homeschooling, and all the other things that are pro isolation. Isolation's not good for your health.
No, we're human beings. We interact.
We all need people to talk to, whether you want to believe it or not. And if you don't believe you need somebody to talk to, then you're probably mentally ill.
Well, thank goodness you and I have this every week. And
you've got to have someone to vent to.
Yeah.
If you just go to wherever, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
Before it's a teapot, it boils over like this. Audrey Hale boiled over today, and look at the consequences. This has been a pot that's been on the stove for more than just a day or two. We're talking weeks, months, years, planning with manifestos. Her whole life was probably consumed with this mission. And no one went on when she got up this morning.
And no one saw that, and no one reached out to try to.
Well, if they saw it, they didn't see it, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And that's where the FBI will get with them on and see.
Yeah, sure.
Did they have no indication that this was going on?
Yeah, right.
That's always surprising, and probably didn't at the end of the day.
I mean, there's a chance, but just a tragedy today, and a tragedy.
But anyway, we got things we need to do, and we need to quit being narcissistic and care about other people, and get our politicians to get off their ass and do something beside, whatever they do.
Yeah. I mean,
we've
honestly,
got to get involved with mental health. We've got to be able to protect our country. We've got to have, some kind of mission that we're on as a country.
Yeah.
That's not just about saving money, protecting money,
No.
or trying to get rich in 10 minutes.
You know what, Jimmy? To me, it's real solutions for real problems.
Yep.
That's it. It's basic.
And, we've got to hold our representatives to the fire, and make them stop all this foolishness. And I hope we can. I don't know if we can, but I hope we can.
I do too, and I appreciate you being on with us today, just like you are every week. And you can catch the next episode of Sweeping the Country right here next week. We've got a special episode with James Brown. That's a doozy. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm telling you, the Godfather of Soul, that's up right now. It's just a great episode. You'll find that on Sweeping the Country, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Until next week, I'm Derek Walker. He is.
And I'm Jimmy Carter.
Good day.
Good day.